What's up, guys? It's Matthew. And this week on the podcast, we have a woman named Candice who is a 23-year survivor of stalking. Let that sink in for just a second. She dated, well, here, listen to her. This is Candice talking about when the situation started for her.
I was 16. I was in high school, and
Wow.
we briefly dated. I'm talking a few months, and some things happened, normal kind of teenage breakup kind of stuff. And I broke it off with him, and he just has not left me alone ever since.
I mean, I can't even imagine that. Think about it. Think about going back to your high school boyfriend or girlfriend, and now it's like 20 years later in life, and they still won't leave you alone. It's out of control. It's unimaginable to me. And what we talk about in this conversation are things like, well, how can you work through this situation? What are some of the most important things for people to know if they are indeed being stalked? And one of the things that we did really get clear on in the podcast is the difference between like a pain in the ass and then somebody who's truly stalking you. And so she defines that in here. But I have to be honest, there was one point in the conversation where I got pretty pissed off. And it's because of the way that people treated Candice during this situation. Here's one of the things I'm talking about. This is the kind of shit she's dealing with.
But I've had a lot of people ask me, like, why would you even date anybody like this? And it was not like that when I was 16. He wasn't.
I mean, what a useless question to ask somebody, right? I mean,
Right.
like in the world of useless questions, when it's all said and done, why did you do that is like the most useless thing on planet Earth.
Right.
Yeah.
And if anybody had a crystal ball that they could see the future, I don't think anybody would choose
Right.
it is a very useless question. But I've gotten a lot of that kind of response from a lot of people and a lot of victim blaming, like, what did you do to this guy? Like, what did you, and it's just, and that's, the other reason I want to kind of like talk about my experiences, because I know there's a lot of other people experiencing something similar to this. I know my story is a little unique in terms of the years that I've had to deal with this, but I know the feeling when someone is making you uncomfortable, you don't feel safe in your own space. And the last thing you need in that moment is someone questioning you as if you had some part of going through this particular situation with somebody that's, mentally unstable.
So infuriating. Why would you date somebody like that? Like, give me a break. So, if you've got somebody in your life who's dealing with a situation like this, can you stay away from the useless questions? Because it's not helping anybody, okay? What is helping people? What can you do? What sorts of things has she found to be successful? It comes down to one word for her: evidence.
Evidence. Keep a log. If someone's calling you incessantly, you write down the times that they're calling you. And now technology is so different. This was, 20 years ago. I had to write it all down. I didn't have a cell phone I could screenshot, but now there are a lot of other ways that you can document it. But evidence is everything. We put up cameras around our house that was able to get him on camera. The evidence is the biggest thing, because that is what they can use to convict somebody of this particular crime.
Okay, good to know. There's so much in this interview. I really encourage anybody that's gone down a similar road to listen to her. And as you know, here on Learn from People Who Lived It, we're about, number one, sharing the story, but then most importantly, how did you cycle out of it? What kind of tools did you use yourself to manage this situation? And for her, it comes down to one of my favorite things on planet Earth.
Well, one of the biggest things I think that has made such a difference in my anxiety is meditation.
Yes.
Incorporating that on a daily basis and making the time for it, it's been life altering for me. I was on antidepressants for years.
Yeah.
I was on anti-anxiety medicines at times, and I'm not saying there's not a place for that, but to get to a place where I can self regulate, where I can keep the anxiety at a manageable place, where I don't feel like I'm dependent on any substance, any one external thing, it's been life changing. It's just been pretty amazing. I'm able to function. You get so in tune to your body when you meditate, and you become way familiar with those uncomfortable emotions and feelings and triggers that come up. And knowing how to manage those is just, it's life changing.
It's exactly how I feel. I remember at the height of my anxiety and the height of my depression, I truly believe that meditation saved my life. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Thank you, Candice, for just an incredible conversation, for being vulnerable enough to share it, and for helping other people. You guys know how I feel about it. This is why I created this podcast and speaking series. I truly believe that we can learn from people who lived it.